blue 1 pick if you're looking for something to go down into that bot lane, and might be something that NIP consider taking off the board. But we have to hit our quota, right? Pantheon, Jace, Nocturne, Kalista need to be banned, and they have been as such. Now AL with the big question, what do they take? Are they looking to steal away one of those few remaining AD carries? Is there a jungler that they still want to try and pick up? Is there a top laner that we've forgotten about that is just going to absolutely run the rift? I think for AL, the question so far is just securing that spot lane stability. And yeah, Ziggs, it just seemed to fit the brief the most.
We're going to keep seeing this. This first phase, it is paramount that you get your bottom lane selected here. I think you're griefing this game 5 if you do not have your bottom lane locked up, or have a really, really big pocket pick in mind that you don't think will get banned away in that second phase. The Jhin was a name that we didn't mention, so that one's going to be locked in here for leave, but that definitely telegraphs a specific type of comp you have to play when you play with a Jhin.
Yeah, so you're looking for damage in the top side for the most part, right? Like, Jhin is one of these champions, has an incredible laning phase, has an incredible 6 items, but in terms of damage, as you broach that mid game, it's not quite there. His power comes from the CC and the setup that your team provide. I love the Alistar here, and I think it's something that they should take. Whenever you pick Ziggs, you're looking to pair that up with Engage. You don't want an Enchanter alongside a Ziggs. It's not a pairing that works. But if you take away the Alistar, it takes away some form of Engage for Kael. It means that he now is going to have to delve that little bit deeper into his back pocket to try and find an Engage champion that can set up for the rest of the squad.
I wonder if you might just take the best available. Like, at a certain point, we talk about like sports drafts, right? Just sometimes you take best available in tight spots here. Why not get the Sejuani for Tarzan? Give him that engage duty. And Ziggs Braum does not look that bad, but they're going to take a risk here. This is AL prioritizing mid-jungle as their focal point in their comp, and they're willing to give away that pretty prized Braum on the ban. But what a mid-lane matchup we have, Roodood.
This is, again, top of the show that we performed was the idea that these two mid laners would be going fisticuffs, head-to-head with melee mid matchups. We've been sorely disappointed for 4 games. Game 5, we get Akali versus Yone. We get to see these two mid laners duke it out in the mid lane. And for AL specifically, and for Shanks, a player who, coming into this split, we were a little bit on edge about, had a decent run with WE, but came in as maybe an unknown quantity fitting into this AL roster, but has had an incredible season. Now he's got Tarzan, whose champion literally is picked to help Yone.
Yep.
These two together are going to look to work in tandem as a duo to destroy Doinby and destroy this NIP run.
Now time to just chop down more of those champion pools. Junglers being targeted by AL into Aki. I really just think this is a Braum ban still. I think, all right, I think they leave it up. I know it's a Ziggs in the bottom lane, but yeah, Brand's a good one. Take away those AP junglers. But I am shocked that Braum gets through.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky to advocate for not Braum as AL. Because we know that NIP aren't taking it, right? Like, they've already locked in the Alistar. And I think that AL, if they just take the Braum, look to try and, make sure that the game is nice and slow, then they're probably going to be absolutely fine. Using that Braum and using Sejuani Braum as a duo as well is so powerful as well. So that's a lot of things to attempt to consider as NIP, because they take away some really powerful support pick in the Elise and the Camille as well, taking out that top side. So suggest that they're looking for a specific pick in that top lane. A blind Olaf for Shanji. So we will see quite what they're cooking up, because you have to imagine this Olaf might be a flex as well.
It could
like,
be,
if this gets destroyed in the top matchup, Aki might just take it jungle, and then you give Shanji a little bit more power.
I like the identity they're creating, though, with NIP. You mentioned it when we saw the Jhin locked in. You have to have a bunch of topside damage, so you now have it in those solo lanes. And Olaf and Jhin pair really well together with how your CC on Jhin can set up Olaf to run through with that Ragnarok. Shen could be the blind here into top, but I also wouldn't assuage a support pick here alongside the Ziggs. And what a pick this would be for Flandre in this game 5.
We're going to know what if it's a flex pick or if it's just going to be support Shen locked on in. So I was worried about that Shen going into the top lane, I'll be honest, but I'm happier with it being support. It's a unique support pick that you're going to be able to bust out. It's these game 5s that, you know, you have to pull out the deep pockets. Kael decides that Shen is the pick of choice. And it doubles down on what is already a very dive-oriented composition. My concern is that NIP don't really care that you've got a dive composition. The Jhin theoretically should be so far back that he can't get dove on. And then the rest of the team, they're going forward as well. So it is full head-to-head 5v5, just utter carnage, right? Like, these are two death balls that should be looking to ram their foreheads into one another. And then you've got on the flip side, Hope and Leave, who are going to be in absolutely no man's land for the majority of this game because they're playing at such high ranges that they should never really get engaged on. But if they do, they're going to die in a second. So we are going to get scrappy. We are going to get ferocious in the fights. But what that means, and what I've so frequently seen in these best of 5s, is the first 10-15 minutes, Slayer, we're going to see nothing. They're just going to be snoozing. They're going to be chilling. They'll be trading objectives because these are the types of compositions where you get a lead and that lead snowballs very quickly.
The only thing that could speed this game up is both these jungle champions are early game oriented, right? You have like unique Zac gank paths, Sejuani, especially with 2 melee solo lanes, can be pretty effective in CC setup. So my eyes are really drifting towards Tarzan on the Sejuani. We haven't seen him play a bunch of his power farming, carry-oriented champions in this series, right? His best game was a Skarner game. His potential game or series-saving game could be this Sejuani. So look towards those junglers to maybe speed this up. But I'm with you, Roodood. It's about just stat-checking fights that we are going to get in this game 5.
Yeah, and you know, that volatility, the explosive nature of these team fights where you've got 8 melee champions across the board, getting that lead early on can prove to be so very effective.
And here we go. One final time. Soak in the Gyos. The perfect way to bring us into a game 5 in LPL fashion. Roodood, those were the loudest of the entire night.
Yep, I told you, man, as the games progress, the Gyos get louder and louder, and Kael already spotting out some early movements from NIP.
Gonna land a big taunt there onto ppgod. We talked about how slow the pace of the game could be, and the first level 1 skirmish we get is in this game of all places. Flash off of ppgod, that's gonna take away a lot of agency for NIP.
And no Hex Flash rather for ppgod, a champion who's already typically very weak at level 1, now has even less capability at looking to lane. AL, they want to match this bot lane. You can see the Ziggs, they were trying to track where the bot lane was headed to. They've now seen them recall and kind of have to guess. There's not a lot of deep vision placed down. Hope is sat in that mid lane at the minute. And are they sending Shanks off to the side lane to be the effective bot laner?
Looks like it. Wow, this is a new wrinkle to the lane swap meta. You rarely see this. He's going to get cut off from the wave as well. I wonder what spell he ticked over level 1. Maybe like starting E just to get up in melee range for the XP, but he's going to lose it on at least 2 of those melee minions. Maybe he got it on the last one.
No, he got it on all 3. And looking at his level there, he's actually halfway through level 1 already, so managed to find experience. Doinby, not quite having the same fate, but less of his minions have died, so maybe a range creep has been lost or so. But AL with a complete iteration, or new iteration on this lane swap, where they just put their duo lane mid, bully out the Akali for the start. So it's a rare lane swap where you're looking to protect your mid laner.
They've left Hope alone.
Oh no,
ppgod's swinging over. What is going on? Hope is alone. Where did Kael go? He just gave up first blood. Flash secured. Doinby doesn't get it, but it's ppgod. What the hell's going on in the jungle? Kael has knocked out Aki. This is chaos.
Okay,
oh my God, it
I was wrong.
Stop here. It doesn't stop here. Another 80 carry is locked in for one hell of a time. Shanks gets his revenge on the leave. So both marksmen have dropped. Kael is stuck in enemy jungle, but he's going to kill Aki through the Zac passive. No, he gets a big heal and Kael is cornered. He has to watch his tasty treat of a kill fly into the rear view mirror. And they're going to give this one over to Doinby. No, ppgod takes another kill. This is a 2-0 Alistar.
Get the nails! Large rod! Now, ppgod, full AP Alistar. This is your time.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
I get why he took the first kill, but that one?
For the record, I don't think he meant to take either.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate, but the fact that the Alistair comes away with both of those kills definitely feels pretty rough. First time we've seen a Shen support for 2 years. Last one was Ming to pull that out from an RNG roster. And Shanji also sacrificed quite a bit to try and walk up there to pick up the kill onto Kael, who, you know, has been an absolute sociopath this game. Decided to abandon his bot laner so that they would die, or they ended up dying to the Doinby ppgod. Bullied Arky out on blue buff, then went to try and kill him 1 versus 4, was unfortunately unsuccessful. And now I assume we'll return to the quote-unquote normality where the relative lanes will be up against one another and supports are at the mercy of wherever they decide to go.
Yeah, XP is a delicacy for these two. They're just run around and be nuisances.
Normally the rule is get level 3, try to roam. Not this game.
Nah, not this series, man. Which, while it definitely got weird in Game 4, at least this isn't boring weird right now.
No, this is a good weird. I said weird at the start, yeah, we're going to see nothing happen for the first 15 minutes, and I couldn't be happier to be more wrong.
I'm right with you. We do finally see supports return to their lanes, and ppgod's already back to throwing hands. He's got 2 kills. He has no fear in the world. Leave the crit shot. Not enough, but Kael having to back off once more.
Okay, I mean, no junglers on this top side to threaten hope, fortunately. So Arky, you know, not going to be in position for that just yet. And I think Arky has finally finished his full clear 5 minutes into the game. It was very disrupted, so we sort of looked at the issues that ppgod of getting the kills, and then you've obviously got the response where they were able to find a kill for Shanks onto leave. But importantly, Tarzan is so far ahead of Arky because he's already finished probably his 2nd full clear now as he takes that Gromp. And Arky only just finished that first one.
Oh, here comes Arky with the elastic slingshot, but Kael is here to protect Shanks, make it a 2v2. Does get the bounce back with the minions. Todd's going to land onto Doinby. Doesn't have to flash up.
Bot lane's here.
Be able to walk out with ppgod swinging over. Yep, man advantage for NIP. Going to save Doinby for now.
And again, for Doinby, this isn't just a best of 5 about the upper bracket. This is about crushing an old... Yeah, crushing an old foe almost. Yes, they were allies, but they were a duo on a team that was supposed to achieve such greatness back in 2022. They failed at that. They were a team that was supposed to make Worlds. They got knocked out by a V5 roster twice in the regional gauntlet and in the playoffs. And Tarzan as well in this game number 5 has that very same thing to prove, that he wasn't the problem, that he's actually one of these legacy players, 2 players who the LPL have deemed, you know, front runners for the MVP. Doinby getting the MVP, but Tarzan very close behind him. It's been such a close series already, and now Kael in trouble as he engages.
Yeah, ppgod doesn't have Unbreakable Will. This Alistair's only level 4. Glacial Prison gonna sink through for Tarzan, but ppgod flashes out. He might have left leave, though, to the wayside. He's caught between the wall and a very, very angry boar. Here comes the 2 fights where everybody runs through each other, but it's Shanji of all people. Secure feats of warfare. Down goes Flandre as well. Shanji now gets jumped on by all of AL, but look how much space he's buying before he finally drops. NIP secure feats of warfare and go 2 for 1 in our first skirmish.
And it's ppgod who found all 3 kills from the feat of warfare. There's a bonus 1 picked up for Shanji thrown in there, but this Alistair is hungry for blood and finding it in these team fights as well. Swifty Boots picked up for ppgod, and he's the one that got engaged on to begin with. Level 4 Alistair somehow tanks up 4 members of AL. A triple knockup buys him the time. And the bomb just bounces over the top of the Alistair. Just barely hope not able to cash in on that. Leave was able to get out as well. That's a complete, you know, unwritten rule that Leave should have died there. Oh, he just walks out to safety. Shanks whiffs on his ulti, but fortunately Shanji's already in a 1v3 and will go down anyway. These team fights, Slayer, I hope you're ready because they are going to get much more chaotic than that.
Yeah, that was like 25% of what we're going to get. And we already saw these top laners, these solo laners, just running past front lines to try and get towards these AD carries. These poor ADs, Hope and Leave, are just constantly going to be hounded. But speaking on, you know, Hope, Leave, these other mainstay players on these rosters besides Tarzan and Doinby, well, it's nice to support, you know, their leaders in their endeavor to get that edge over former allies. So many of these players have never been in a big spot like this. We mentioned it. Constructed rosters from WE and OG have passed. This is such a new level for them, a level where they need to prove they can battle with the best.
As we finally get to see our bot laners in bot lane, top laners in top lane, our mid laners in the mid lane, for the time being uncontested. You raise a great point that these teams that we defined as Doinby versus Tarzan to begin with, but has so quickly become a question of what is the rest of the team doing. Shanji now in trouble.
As Ragnarok holds it a while, eats up that taunt like cereal that I'm going to have for breakfast because the sun's already up, and runs himself right out of trouble. Ragnarok is down though, which is a pivotal piece of NIP's fights here, so I'm curious to see what AL will do on the map now, knowing that ult is off the board.
So Drake is up, second set of grubs will spawn as well in a minute's time. So there's a window to look for that dragon, but it looks like AL are set on going for 6 grubs. ppgod still level 4, Kael still level 4, looking to defend his top laner and make sure that he can get back to the wave.
ppgod just wants the rarest commodity of experience here, but he's finally going to be able to get close enough. It's really critical both these supports get their ultimates. They're so valuable to their entire kits. But we're seeing top laners throw ultimates down. Flandre popping the
mid lane as
world
well.
ender there. And mid laners are dueling it out in the picture. What a flash by Doinby over the Glacial Prison as Shanks goes over with the Q3. And both of them walk away to their safety. Aki jumping in, has that Zac passive so he can play a lot more aggressive. But it's just a tank fight. It's wet noodles until Shanji shows up. Kael over the wall, gets himself to safety. Surely this should be NIP securing grubs, but they want more. They want blood. Aki slips from his grasp, maybe a potential kill, and everybody trots on away.
Okay, so grubs now spawned, looking at important cooldowns that teams might like for this. Neither mid laner has their ulti, but Doinby has no flash. Shanks does. Maybe that's a tool that they can use to find a beneficial fight. ppgod has finally ticked over from level 4. The benefit that that gives him is, you know, an extra 200 or 20 damage rather on his Q. Not the greatest thing, but Doinby shows up top lane. Flandre maybe the focus here, but with no ulti. Nikali very much not a threat. Grubs up on the table. Remember, AL looking for 6. NIP looking to just get 3.
Trading, jockeying these positions on the grubs here. Tarzan maybe just trying to take one so he can get mites and keep a monster slaying stack away. It's going to be a smite fight for it. First one picked up by NIP. Aki grabs that one. Tarzan going to step back up. Should be able to grab the second. Big taunt from Kael onto ppgod. The Alistair does not have the ult. Here comes the current call on the backside. Our first big fight breaking out in the do or die game 5. Aki still holding strong near the grubs. They have Shanji pinned. Remember, his Ragnarok is down. Flandre doesn't have World Ender, but he doesn't need it because Shanks is here to end the fight himself. Down goes Shanji. Aki to fall next. AL bite back when they need it most.
Anyone's legend come alive in the top side and find 3 for themselves. The grubs go down as well. 5-1 on that. They're not finished yet. Doinby stuck on the turret. He has ulti.
Has the shroud as well. That's enough to assuage the dive. Doinby takes a big licko out of a Hope Bomb with that Loons completed, but keeps his turn and his own livelihood safe.
And again, these two teams with such chaotic team fights, just diving past one another.
Oh, Tarzan snipes Doinby, and Shanks knocks down a double! The revenge on the cusp of Tarzan! Clutch after play!
The turret will fall as well. The second satchel comes up for Hope will be the second that turret falls. Tarzan lines it up, and Shanks knocks down Doinby.
We've been talking about it. Tarzan has had Doinby's number in a couple spots, but Shanks isn't done. Going after Shanji. Quietly, Shanks has become an absolute giga Chad. 4-0-3 on this Yone. He's the biggest problem on the Rift right now.
This is a replay of the grubs fight on the top side of all of this. So, really, a 4v5 for this fight. Curtain call, does nothing. So the Jhin does nothing. And AL, they have Hope there, who's constantly just pumping damage out with these bouncing bombs. The Satchel, the Minefield doing a lot of work. Able to take out Arki, and then Tarzan just lines it up, sets up Shanks. It's beautiful. It's clinical from Tarzan. And you can see in a game 5,
now they're celebrating.
Now there's something to celebrate about.
The mid-jungle duo, these picks were massive on that blue side. We talked about bottom lane, supports that needed to be locked in to secure with the Fearless champ pool, but no, AL said, we want Tarzan and Shanks on this Yone Sejuani, and boy, are they not disappointing as Shanks looking for his 5th victim. There's nothing Shanji can do. Kills him all alone. Aki jumps in, but I don't think you want this smoke, booger. You're going to get thrown around by the Yone blades. Goes into the Q3, forces out the bounce from Aki, but here comes Tarzan.
Shanks the
Lethal Prison off the flash. Tarzan's playing at another level right now.
He is a monster, single-handedly lining up kill after kill, and NIP have got no response. AL are 5k to the good. Shanks is unstoppable in these team fights, and there is no answer for NIP.
NIP are scrambling to find something, asking on their MVP Doinby, who's been quiet compared to Shanks. This Akali needs to show up, but this game is slipping out of their hands. This entire series could be defined by one more big fight at this rate.
Look at the stats from this game alone. Doinby was just down 2 levels, 1, 1, and 3. Shanks, 2 levels up on this lane matchup. Solo kills 1. Decides, actually, I'll take a 3-level lead now. Goes for Aki afterwards, and Aki knows immediately that he's bitten off more than he can chew. Tarzan comes in, and the prediction cues forward, channels the ulti before the flash comes through, and it's poetry in motion.
Elation from the coaching staff. AL went from throwing away a game 3 to being on the precipice of an upper bracket spot secured. And now all eyes have to turn to Ninjas in Pyjamas, Roodood. How do they climb back with this comp they designed all around this Doinby Akali and Shanji's Olaf as the main damage dealers?
I mean, the issue is that you have to fight your way out from this position. There's no way of
100%.
Slowing down the scaling, but they're fighting up against double level disadvantage in double solo lanes. There's just no chance that they win those fights, barring, again, miracle execution, and at this point, AL flubbing these team fights. And for AL as well, the story for this organization is really quite poetic as well. This was a team that won Demacia Cup. There were people saying, it was just Demacia Cup. It doesn't have that same impact. They then beat Top again. We got a rematch of the Demacia Cup finals in their group. And then the story starts to turn around. People start to take them seriously. In a best of 5 up against NIP as well, where they're down at match point. They have to battle twice up against it. And now they find themselves in that second game. And they're coming out on top to secure themselves a spot in the winners finals. An organization that has seen such a glow up in 2025 just needs such to put the final needle in the haystack to try and get them across the line.
Securing a dragon, they are 1 Monster Slayer feet away from a boots upgrade. They've got 5 grubs, a whole lot of gold, and like you called out, there's just so much agency for AL. They could inflict their will upon NIP over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that you won't frequently get too much of a check on, but there are 26 roses for AL. Have you seen how many NIP have?
All I know is I'm betting it's single digit.
It's 1. A single rose for the whole of NIP. So all of that adaptive force, that experience that we're talking about, is just so far behind for NIP. Every conceivable metric they are down in.
And we're in even more rare territory. Do you know how often Voracious Octagon has been in LPL games? Nearly 100%. But no, in this spot, after how bloody of an early game we've got, we get a rare Ruinous Octagon, which I think Roodood is even more powerful when you're ahead with the bonuses and gifts.
I mean, I don't know about I think the game-ending power that comes from it, but this game, Ruinous Octagon is going to give even more roses, right? It's going to accelerate that experience advantage even further. And, you know, I think that pushing that lead, no doubt, is going to become even easier. Shanks.
Tarzan, he's pushing it. ppgod on his own, up against the two big damage dealers. Here comes neny. What can he do? What can the LPL split MVP do as he watches his team crumble? Beef served up on the menu. ppgod goes down, but Tarzan's looking for more here. Big Inferno Bomb. Leave is forced down. neny desperately trying to do everything he can, but he perfectly executes back out to safety. NIP are crumbling to the might of anyone's legend.
Flandre fancies another one. Flash burn from Leave. Now Aki goes in.
Oh, he's knocked out of his elastic slingshot. Perfect call by Tarzan. They force him into the passive, but it's just another free kill given over. Curtain call be damned. Shanji's trying desperately to find one kill. He picks up Hope. He's got the Ragnarok stack. Flandre is running out of World Ender stacks. Kael is very low. Shanji's running them all down, but he can't commit and find any of the kills.
TP.
But he might just be gifted one. Shakes is TPing in, looking for Leave. Tarzan on the backside as well. It's pandemonium in the mid lane. Everybody's on top of each other, but somehow it's ninjas and Pyjamas coming out on top. They've got no ult. They've got no reason to be in this game, but they're finding clutch kills to keep it close.
And the shutdown goes to the Alistair. It is a catastrophe for NIP.
How?
They find the kill. They shut down the Yone, this 6-0 phenom in the mid lane. But it goes to the Alistair, the 4th kill of the game, that gets picked up by the Kael. It's just the worst place for it to go, and it tops off what is already a very difficult game for NIP. Aki starts this off by burning Hope's flash. Again, a miracle given the game state. But Tarzan and Shanks, this duo have been inseparable in this game, and no wonder they have found so much success together in this split and in this series as well. Shanks destroying neny, breaking his ankles in the 1v1, and Aki goes in here to try and defend his turret, but Tarzan once again getting the better of another jungler, finding just the unbelievable stop. It's very simple. Arctic Assault, but does it. Drops aggro, gets in, gets out, and then a breath of life for this NIP side as Shanji channels Ragnarok burns, double flashes, goes crazy. And then a second redemption story as well for NIP as Shanks TP's in and AL try to bail him out, but they don't have the damage, they don't have the durability after such a big engage to be able to do it. And 961 gold goes straight into the Alistair's back pocket.
Oh man, we're gonna look back on this series we're doing. While it wasn't on purpose, gotta wonder, is this game more competitive if even a half of those kills are on to anyone else on this team?
I mean, you know, you can't argue that 961 gold in a Jin's pocket, in an Akali's pocket, would be more useful than in the Alistair's pocket. I mean, there are 4 assists for Leave, there are 4 kills for ppgod. Some way, somehow, those metrics are the wrong way around.
Yeah, Shanji, neny, and Leave all have 4 assists right now. But who cares about that?
Goodbye.
It's Tarzan back with neny's number rent-free in his head as he sets up Shanks for another masterful kill.
2-0-7. Tarzan is having a blinding performance, the only member of his team to have not gone down. They will turn toward the ruinous Atacon for probably the first time that they've seen in the LPL this split. Shanji happy to take a tier 1 turret down on the bot side, but AL will be happy to take another set of roses, another neutral objective, and just, again, so much experience ready for them here. Look at that. They started on like 39 after this Atacon. Let's see what they finish on.
They're 70 at this point. My word.
Yeah.
They do lose a dragon on the backside and that tier 1 turret like you talked about, but these are just pennies on the dollar. That is the lead that anyone's legends have. It really feels like one more big fight win will break it open, and NIP know it. They're getting desperate. They're going for man advantage stack plays, but the Shen will keep Shake safe. Kael shows up. Double teleport coming back. Shanji gonna pop the Ragnarok, but he has to run out to safety. Watch his health bar just melt. That teleport was a one-way mission to a gray screen.
And where were the rest of the team? Shanji's engaging that TP. The call is, we have to fight our way out. But the second it gets a little bit dicey, he gets abandoned. Nothing from the rest of NIP to be done, and they lose out on their top lane. And really, the shining star of those team fights that was giving them the best opportunity to do anything is now gone. 20 seconds before he respawns, and then a 10-second walk back out to the top side.
Oh,
another ult from Tarzan!
Look who he gets again! It's neny who burns through the might of Hope's Inferno Bomb! Tarzan isn't anyone's legend no more! He is the legend of this series!
Top tier 2 will fall. Tier 3's under siege now and up against a Ziggs. You never want to be staring down the barrel of all of that poke. Shanji's back, but to what avail?
Here we go. Aki once again knocked out of the elastic slingshot. Tarzan continues to stay locked in as Shanks finds Leave through the barrels of Olaf and Zach. Down goes Leave, and the hopes of NIP crumbling second by second.
Down goes Leave, down goes the AD carry, down goes the inhibitor turret in the top side. Mercifully almost. AL decides to leave the inhibitor up. If I'm NIP, I let that fall to the minions that are there. NIP now in dire straits, and anyone's legend looking to secure themselves the first match versus JDG in the winner's bracket. What a match that'll be if we end up getting it, because these two teams have been going head to head.
And that matchup seems cemented due to the way this team is playing.
And what does Leave even do here? I mean, the answer is not channel his ulti in the face of Shanks, but then you're leaving your Zac out on a platter to just get churned up. There's so few correct plays to make when you're down 8,000 gold. Even if you make all the right plays, and even if at this point AL makes some of the wrong ones, you will still just lose.
AL have been questioned ever since they got out of Demacia Cup. Was this team good enough to be in a similar grand final spot in the LPL split? Then it was, were they good enough based off their group to continue performing? Well, Tarzan says, hell yeah, the way he's playing. Glacial Prison onto Shanji. He's trying to run through all of NIP, and here's their last-ditch effort, desperately trying to find shutdowns to keep this game alive, but they're going on to Kael. That's not the target you want. They'll turn their attention back over and pick off Hope as well, but Shanks is staying up, gets the fate seal down, doesn't find the kills yet though. How is Shanji still up with Aki? They're desperately trying to juggle, but Tarzan chases Shanji down, forces Aki into the passive, but he's not coming out on the right side. Great screen for Aki. It's only the MVP neny left up, and Tarzan is on the hunt. Arctic Pursuit over the wall, wants to find the final kill against his former ally, but he can't chase him down just yet. But it doesn't matter because AL have won another big fight.
And they're going to get the inhibitor in the top side, probably off of these minions. The inhibitor turret maybe in the mid lane as well, going to be their prize. All told though, Slayer, I mean, as NIP, that fight went pretty well.
Yeah.
neny's going to save the inhibitor as well. They found 3 kills. And importantly, ppgod got none of them. So, there's a brief, a small glimmer, a flicker almost in the darkness of hope that NIP might be able to take this fight. Shanji, again, I feel like he's having a really solid performance, knowing exactly what his job is, and it's neny. Focuses out Hope, tries to get the Ziggs in, despite the super cone, is actually able to find the Ziggs on the backside. Like, that's just the power of Akali. Shanji's doing great work taking out Shanks. Leave's already dead.
Oh no, Leave's already dead. ppgod next. Right when NIP were starting to find some kills, they give up their bottom lane, and neny might be next. Kael not going to find the taunt, but Tarzan's hunting for him. He's seeing red. All he wants is neny's head on a platter. But Shanks can't get close enough. They turn their attention towards Aki. Does not have the passive, but the spirit form of neny won't get the kill for Shanks. They're just going to take more inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, and Shanji is defending this bot tier too, but his inhibitors are under fire. They're going to take mid lane. They will take top lane as well. And AL, they've been biding their time with these inhibitors, waiting for the opportune moment, and they deem it now. Picture in picture is again Tarzan weaving an ulti past ppgod to take down Leave. Again, you know, this series we've painted as the picture of neny versus Tarzan. Who was the issue, maybe? Who on this LNG roster from 2-3 years ago was the reason things went wrong? But in this series specifically, Tarzan is coming out head and shoulders above of not just Aki, but neny as well.
Coming off of game losses, Tarzan now twice in a row has been a different animal The Skarner pick was a gift, but he made it look as powerful as possible. And this Sejuani performance, it's hard to describe how much the Tarzan is creating on the map here. But AL still have yet to find that killer blow. They've gotten so close. It feels inevitable. But we're still somehow in this game, and Roodood somehow going to reach a 30-minute mark, it feels like.
Yeah, and you know, this game, I mean, it's just about dotting the I's, crossing the T's for anyone's legend at this point. You know, making sure that they don't end up with a catastrophic throw. They look for another engage.
And it's on the ppgod. Valiantly will try and give his life to protect his teammates. Aki's going to fly in, though. The visual person locks up ppgod. He is able to get out. There's some big knockups from Aki. The curse call does what feels like negative damage, and that was a TP in from Shanji, and his health bar just got deleted. And now Tarzan can go for it all. They're teleporting the base. Anyone's legend wants the killer blow, and Shanks is going to find it on the lead. It's only neny, the split MVP, left to watch his base fall in ruins. It took the full distance, but anyone's legends are going to the upper bracket finals to face JDG.
A best of 5 that will have anyone's legend questioning why it took them so damn long. A game 5 that will have them questioning how did it ever get to this point. And a best of 5 that NIP will be questioning, you know, how did this look so good? What happened to put us in this position? Anyone's legend with the class and caliber of Tarzan came out in this game 5. It's hands down the MVP, for sure.
Hands down.
But
without
I mean, the pieces as well, incredible. I think that AL, you know, came together in that game 5 and in a skirmish-oriented composition like what we got there. Both of these two teams picking scrappy 5v5 team fights kind of needed to happen.
Definitely needed to happen, and you know, I don't mean to rub salt in the wound here for NIP fans, but even looking broader than just Game 5, this series was in their hands. It was gifted to them. They got a Game 3 win when we weren't expecting it, with such a lead for AL. They were on match point, but the Game 4 was such a flop, and it's hard not to look back, Roodood, and see the mistakes NIP made to find themselves in the lower bracket.
Yeah, they will have a lot to learn from, right? And I think this has been a really good litmus test for NIP as well, speaking to the quality of their group, right? The reason they were top seed was they beat Invictus Gaming, right? This super team roster that has been drafted by IG was bested by this NIP roster. And, you know, the MVP of the regular season in neny was neutered in this series. Tarzan had his number from the start of that game, especially to the end. But even in their wins, it never felt like it was the neny show. Yes, he won a great player of the game in Game 1, which we kind of both said maybe was a bit of a robbery from ppgod. You know, Game 2, he's got Leave, or the second win is Leave dominating on a smolder. And then, of course, we, you know, round out this game where neny is just not really having the impact that he needs to.
Yeah, a rare out of form look here for neny. And we talked about the draft of Game 4, put him in a pretty precarious situation as well, right? Like, how much could you really ask him to do with this karma? But we definitely settled and answered one of the big questions we wanted to ask here. It wasn't in every game of this series, but the biggest wins for AL, Game 2 and Game 5, Tarzan was just